Welcome to the Employment Wednesday podcast with Yvonne Shabangu. Have you heard of the scripture Hosea 4 verse 6? My people perish because of the lack of knowledge. The same applies to your career. When you don't know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, you are likely to make wrong career choices. But worry not. Employment Wednesdays is here for you to offer you all the answers relating to your career and offer you strategies to develop your career. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Employment Wednesdays. Your eyes are not deceiving you. Yvonne is not here today. We decided to give her a break. After all the hard work she's been doing, she deserves some rest. But don't worry, you have me here, Tando Tabete, and I'll take you through this episode. It's going to be fun, and I hope you love it. Now, for everyone that's returning, you know the drill. Just like and then share the video. For anyone that's new to this channel, please also subscribe as well as share the video to any one of your peers who might actually find our topic interesting. So, our guest today, and I think I'm gonna be a bit informal and call him by the shortened version of his name because that's how he introduced himself to me, is Keke Sevakeng. Nice to meet you, Keke.
Thank you.
I think when I watched the previous podcast that you did, the lady that was introducing you did such a good job listing everything. And I was like, I'm not going to try and top that. I think on the internet, that should be the only existing intro that's like there because it was very comprehensive and it covered a lot of what you do. So I'll throw it at you actually. Would you mind just telling us a bit about yourself and what you do and anything else that's interesting about you?
All right. I think I always ask people on a daily basis. This is what I do when I do interviews. It's always weird when I get asked this question to tell someone about myself. I think in a nutshell, I'm a graduate recruitment manager. I work for a large law firm in Africa. So, and in a nutshell, that's what I do. I look after anything end to end, anything graduate recruitment related, from campus engagements, from internal initiatives within the firm. So anything holistically graduate recruitment that you can think of, that's what I do.
Perfect. And I mean, I do understand that there's some additional roles that you have even outside of work that are related to your specialty. We'll touch on those a bit later. But I think for now, could you just tell us about how you ended up landing into this role? I mean, I imagine as somebody who was in high school, there was like a menu of options. When you get to varsity, there's still also a menu of options. So how did you end up narrowing down to graduate recruitment, talent acquisition, and specifically in the legal industry?
Very weird story. Did not think this is the profession I was going to do, but I'm very much passionate about, youth employment and the injustices that I saw as I was growing up. And that evoked or sparked my interest for recruitment in general, because I started in recruitment, funny enough. I went to VUT and then I did like a year or two I did a national diploma in marketing management, which is completely something different to what I'm doing now. And just like any person of color, funds is an issue, and then you go to the world of work. And then from there, as my first role, I think I was a receptionist, funny enough. Which was very weird, like for a male to be in that.
I know. I've worked as a receptionist before. So I worked at like the law faculty. I was actually an assistant, but whenever the lady who was the receptionist would leave, then it would up to me to like hold the fort. So I know what you mean about how it's just a weird
it's
role.
like frowned upon, like,
to be in. And you'd actually get people that would think that they could strong arm you because they feel like you're not also in line with the role. It's like Mele is out of place.
Absolutely. So for me, I learned a lot through that role. Actually, like 3 months in, I was just like, I remember the lady that she had a lot of insights that she embedded in me during that time. And 3 months into the role, she's like, you know what, let's move you from here. There's actually a role that could be, it was an administrative role, but also had like consultancy role, responsibilities rather. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm ready. So I've always been a person that likes to explore. I never limited myself. And then from there, I told myself, okay, cool. There's a junior sort of administrative this role in recruitment. And then they gave me like 2 clients at the time. I was like, oh, okay, this is exciting.
Nice.
So I was young and fresh. You know, you have like targets, and I was like, oh, really? Oh, you need to meet. So I started that role probably 2 months in. I started like making commission already. Like anyone who's in agency recruitment will understand about targets.
Yeah,
and meeting targets and having clients. So those skills I developed from there, and I got a liking for just recruitment and the impact that it has on people's lives.
Yes.
Is what you could say evoked my love for recruitment in general. The niche graduate recruitment started when I started doing learnerships.
Oh, okay.
Disability learnerships, all sorts of learnerships, and I understood that, hey man, young people are really struggling from that time.
Yes.
Now, I mean, the stats are probably crazy now, but from that time, the lack of information flowing in the spaces that I grew up was very limited, right? And we have social media to thank for now. At least that information is accessible.
It's a very powerful tool,
right?
yeah.
But back then, there were. I'm revealing my age, but back then,
Your
there were
age, eh?
flyers and there were word of mouth, and there wasn't so many mediums to access information.
And I totally understand what you mean, because when you look at things like internet penetration, just some neighborhoods or communities not having access to smart devices.
Yeah.
I remember when I was still, in high school, to even type out a CV, you had to walk to find an internet cafe. When you got there, you had a limited amount of time, which would be fine if you're used to using a computer. If you're not, then it's a mess. And I think that also starts reflecting when people start applying for jobs, because somebody's looking at you like, well, maybe not today, because again, we have social media.
Yeah, no.
But
things
back
have changed.
then it was a mess. So one theme I'm catching from what you're saying is something I also heard you highlight in a previous interview, which was how employers, and maybe through recruitment managers and talent acquisition specialists, are looking for people with a willingness to learn.
Yeah.
And I think when you told the story about you moving from a receptionist role and just upwards, that's what you are highlighting.
Yeah.
So how do I, as a young person who's still in university, demonstrate that to you as somebody who's trying to recruit? How do I, either through documents or my online presence, show you that I have a willingness to learn?
I think that should be something that's organic. Funny enough, yesterday we hosted something at our office. It was a mentorship event.
Okay.
And that question was posed in a different light. And I think when you organically yourself or authentically yourself, any authentic conversation, you can gauge, you can connect with the person, that you can feel the hunger for them wanting to be in that. I can make an example. For instance, you could see a law student that is part of association. Let's say they're part of like a Black Lawyers Association.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between being a member and an active member. So,
yes.
So you could hold office, or you could be a member that's active. But if you're just putting it on your CV just to say, I'm just part of I have a membership with this association, and then there's a difference with someone who's active, who say, I've actually attended like 5 events, and these are the things that I've learned from it. Or is someone who says, I hold office, I actually organize these events. So you can sense from those interactions with the person, and those things will show.
Yeah.
As obviously we're having a conversation in an interview or so, then I can sense that, like, okay, this person is really serious about, and the love or the passion for what they do,
Makes sense. And I think what I've always tried to highlight to people who ask me anything about what's wrong with my CV is that sometimes it's not even the format or anything, it's that it needs content.
Yeah.
And funny enough, the same content that's in your CV is the same content that you use in interviews. And I think some people don't really connect the dots there.
Yeah. Good point, actually. Your CV is something that represents you when you're not there. So obviously it has to be, it has to be readable. I have to understand what you've done. If I don't input, let's say, for instance, I was part of these associations, this is what I did, that might not necessarily land you an interview. But if it was there, then at least as a conversation starter.
Yes, exactly.
Or something that is worthy to say, I want to see this person actually. This is quite interesting, right? So it has to represent you. I mean, and the effort or the application that you put in there has to be strong enough, because sometimes marks are great,
Yes.
but the application, you're like, is there really effort here? So
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes because of how stressful university is, you do get those students who, hey man, let's just focus on the main mission here, which was to come and pass.
Yeah.
But at the same time, employers, and you can tell us a bit more about this,
Yeah.
are looking for more than just marks.
Of course, yeah.
So can you just explain to a student who may be watching this,
Yeah.
how does the things that they do in university actually translate into qualities that an employer desires once they end up at the workplace?
Good question. I think as a student, I think first and foremost, you heard the term thrown around like a holistic candidate. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
look for a
well-rounded
holistic,
candidate.
a well-rounded. There's different terminologies to this, right?
Yeah.
And the importance of that is, like, let's say for instance, you do a part-time job, right? Maybe you're a student advisor, for instance, or I met someone of recently that said, I learned so much through the call center of assisting, students as they
Yeah.
call in and they have queries. And that gave them a glimpse of what the work world would
Yeah.
look like, because
Yeah.
now you have responsibilities, you have deliverables to
Yeah,
give to whoever
yeah.
your superior is, and the confidence to speak also to people.
Which is
Also-
an invaluable tool.
Right?
Yeah.
Like most of us, I feared speaking in a large crowd, and I had to force myself to evoke those skills and put
Yeah.
myself. And I can recall like a student also, for an example, from a student perspective, they're like, oh, I actually took moot court because it's gonna force me to speak
Yeah.
and argue
Yeah.
and do research and like put myself out there. And in them doing that, they acquired the skills necessary to the profession that they want to operate in. You could be the smartest student ever, but if you're unable to articulate yourself or get your point across, or what's the point, right? So because ultimately the profession that you're going into is to service clients. If you can't, confidently speak to me or the people that are around, how are you going to do that to a
Makes
client?
sense. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's transferable skills, I guess, in the sense that when you're doing certain things prior to going to the profession, it sort of gives you transferable skills that you might need in a later stage, like time management, just managing yourself, multitasking, because you are a student, you're studying, you have
Yeah.
assignments to,
Yeah.
you have deadlines in that sense, and then you're doing other things. So that's like giving you a glimpse of what you could potentially be going into. Because as
Yeah.
a candidate attorney, any candidate attorney will tell you it doesn't really matter which firm or how large.
It's going to be tough still.
Going to be a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
When you're looking at like, rotations, you're looking at board exams, you still need to deliver in whatever rotation that you're in. You're absorbing that rotation. You might
Yeah.
rotate to another rotation, you need to adjust to the team. So there's a lot going on, right? But if as a student you're already doing that and you're putting yourself in that position, it sort of prepares you in a way
Yeah. Yeah.
for what's coming. Yeah.
Makes sense. And then, I mean, almost every university, I think every university in the country has a career services center or office. What do you feel like you'd like them to teach students, particularly law students, a bit more about work readiness and how to impress potential employers?
Yeah. So funny enough, I do have great relationships with career services with our universities, and we collaborate a lot. And I can think of the most recent thing that we did is just like a CV writing and like mock interviews or interview tips. There's like guest lectures that will give them insights to the professional. There's a difference between like what they studying and the theory part of it, and versus like the practicality of applying the law.
Yeah.
So there is
true.
a difference between. So when you bring, I guess, the professionals to go speak at the universities, and we normally obviously use the career services to, make sure that these initiatives assist. So there's a partnership between us and them.
Yeah.
And part of it is the work readiness piece is just people to be commercially aware, understanding the practice, where they're trying to go into, what is, and, reading up a lot in that space. It would be like you see a deal between company A and B, and you need to understand what happened there.
Makes absolute sense.
you
Makes
get-
absolute sense.
Once you start, piecing the framework and understanding, then it sort of gives you an idea of the world that you're about to step into, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have a conversation to talk about. Funny enough, if you get an opportunity to go for an interview, for instance, say, "Hey, I actually read up about this case. It sounds interesting." And someone will poke your brain. What do you think about this? So I think from a work readiness perspective, now softer skills is the biggest thing. Funny enough, it's like we're going back to basics. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah. And everybody's thinking you have to have a high level understanding of each case, each
No, no,
legislation, which is weird because you'll get taught that within
Yes.
practice
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And what you need to come with is, like you're saying, the soft skills.
The softer skills are crucial. I think for me, softer skills are crucial, and equally, obviously, the technical skills are needed there.
Yes,
But I
yes.
think the softer skills carry you throughout your career, right? There's a lot of unlearning and learning.
Yes.
That learning to read the room, learning to work with other people, these are softer skills, right?
Yeah.
So learning to just push through, and which will speak to resilience. There may be times that you're working, like you're constantly on the wheel, and that you would require the softer skills to carry you. Like that resilience piece is very imperative during those tough times, right?
Yeah.
You've been in practice, so you'd know, like,
Hey.
there's times where you have matters, and you're trying to balance your social life.
I was about to mention that when you were talking about rotations and everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, when I was still a candidate attorney, I could have managed all that.
Yeah.
Except I had a personal life as
Of
well.
course, you have family, you have a girlfriend, or you have a spouse. I don't know, like you have. There's that piece, and the balance is very important, because you need to find pockets of time to prioritize balancing and managing your time. I think that skill is forever a skill that even us in the profession, we're still trying to manage, like managing your time.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where you have a rhythm that you can maintain.
Yeah.
And there's times where you lose it.
Yes.
But knowing what that rhythm is and knowing when to get back to it is actually what helps you balance everything.
Absolutely, yeah.
And one thing I also just thought about now is, as an underprivileged person, sometimes what happens is that you work for all these opportunities from high school to university, and then you get the perfect job in your mind, and it comes with all these perks.
Yeah.
And what you never expect is how little time you'll have to enjoy all those perks. So it's you would go from every weekend I never had money to go out to every weekend I have money to go out.
Yeah.
But I have all these deadlines and responsibilities. How did you just manage that when you were starting out, and especially once you got into the very busy roles?
That's a very good question. I think for me, it might be unique to another person. I think for me, what I do, I'm passionate about. Sounds very cliche, but people around me, or the circle around me, understand what I do, and they understand the importance of what I do.
Yeah.
So you should be able to communicate with your circle to say, this is what I do, and take them on a journey of understanding. Listen, I'm transitioning. This is, you pivot in your career, and as you pivot, there's always going to be time constraints. My role includes a lot of traveling. So I could be traveling for 3 weeks consistently.
Yeah.
Right. And when I come back, I need to come back to base and connect. Be intentionally there. I think that's the best way I can put it. It's like, I'm intentional. If I'm here, I'm intentional of being there. I switch off from the other side.
Yeah.
Right. And that's important. Right. So I think for me, that's how I managed to navigate that. But the practicality of it is just, diarizing things, which is weird enough. Like I diarize a time. Okay, this is what I'm going to do at this particular time.
Yeah.
I can see I haven't called home. I haven't done this. So that's the practical side of it.
Okay.
Then I force myself to, like, okay, I haven't done this. There's reminders. Gets to that point. But in the
which you never thought. Now I have to be reminded of things. But I think every friend that I have, we have this issue where if your picture on your birthday doesn't get posted at 12 or anytime during the day on your birthday, you're probably getting a happy belated.
Yeah.
And I think that's where reminders come in now.
Yeah.
Because clearly I'm just losing my edge on remembering these things.
Yeah.
And
that is a very bad reminder, I must add.
I know.
But I would say a good thing to do in that context would be setting, I guess, on your phone a reminder the day before.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know what I mean? So I think for me in my career, as I was growing, I had more time before. And then as I didn't have more time, the practical side, I was like, okay, you're going to forget.
Yeah.
So now I set diary bookings. Like now I'm currently studying, right? So I'll set, okay, these deadlines for this assignment between this period and this, I put it in my calendar.
Yeah.
So actively I'm seeing,
Yeah.
okay, I've done
It's
3
coming.
now. I need to do one last more. Do you understand? So like it's like
Makes
the practical
sense.
side of
Yeah.
it. You have to now start using tools to actually empower you not to forget. So
Yeah.
ultimately there has to be a balance. You were working for our families, right? You mentioned if you're not from privilege, whatever the case may be, and you come into you are working for those people, but you still need to also spend time with those people because I mean, what's the point, right? So
Which I think is something we also never learn. We
Yeah.
always think, when you're doing right in one thing,
Yeah.
everything else can fall to the wayside, which is
Yeah.
probably the worst way to think about it.
Yeah.
And I think in keeping with the same theme,
yeah,
resilience is another key trait that you mentioned
Yeah.
that is important for students or just any professional that's trying to get into a competitive workplace, especially in the legal industry.
Yeah.
What's the line between I'm resilient and I'm hardworking and I'll prove myself no matter what,
Yeah.
and I'm actually crashing out or
I was
burning
waiting for
out?
that crashing.
Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
what's the line there? Like, how would you, if somebody came to you and they like, look, I love my job, I'll do anything for it,
Yeah.
but also I don't know when to stop. What
Okay.
would be your
I'll
guardrails?
use a practical example, right? So there's peaks and then there's dips.
Yeah.
So for me, Friday I had an event at Vet, and then Friday was a working day.
Okay.
And then as soon as I was concluding there, I had to drive to Vet. I ended at Vet at like 12. I got to my house at 12. The following
night?
day, yes, AMs. Following day, I had an event at the office. Also, that event ended in the afternoon. Drove back home. You need to take care of your mental health. I think
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing now,
Yeah.
which is mental health. It's like, oh, how do I draw the line between? So then I got home, relaxed, got into bed. Then I had to rest, right? Then guess what? It's today. We're doing this. It's Sunday, 9 a.m. I'm up.
I think, my timing is so off because when you're telling this, I'm really not imagining that we're going to just end up here.
And we're here.
I'm still giving you time. Like,
you
he'll
saw,
rest.
we get,
Like,
then I rest.
he'll rest.
I'm here. 9 a.m. I'm here. And then after here, I'm like, okay, I need to, take time to rest. Then as I rest in the afternoon, I need to submit my last assignment.
Ooh.
Right. So, and I'm giving you the practicality of what I guess students don't have the foresight of what's coming, right?
Yes,
That
yes.
can be my reality. Someone's reality is different. Someone's
Yeah.
reality, but there is deliverables in some shape or form.
Yeah.
Right. And taking care, or like the line between the resilience and crashing out is, you must have things to keep you sane. For me,
Yeah.
is gym, is my faith, which is church,
Yes.
and is doing things that I can shut down from the things that keeps me going. Like for instance, after I leave here, I'm shutting down, meaning that I'm not thinking about what I did, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. You have to shut down and then focus on, be present on that thing, because otherwise, if the other one overlaps, you're going to crash out. You can't have
And
too
I get
much.
it. Yeah. You can
Yeah.
be at the dinner table, but really your mind is in like your computer.
Do you know what I'm
So-
saying? Like, oh, you're like, oh, this is deliverable. And then now the people around you, a support structure, vice versa. You can't do a lot on the other side because your career progression will suffer,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it requires you to be there and be present and give in there.
Yeah.
So it's something that we continuously wrestle with. I don't think there's a formula for it, but it's tailored to each person
Yeah.
on how you structure. If you don't have something, you need to find something. And someone said yesterday in our mentorship, they say they always find something to do that will keep them like in track. Like failure is part of the. Now I'm misquoting now, but that was a beautiful thing that
They'll
they said.
forgive you.
It was a beautiful thing that they said. Failure is part of the process
Yeah.
to where you want to go. I'll say success because it's subjective, but like what you deem as success,
Yeah.
failure is part of the journey.
True.
Right. So, and it's just understanding failure as it happens is only failure if you accept,
True.
the outcome.
Yeah.
But you could learn from something, then it's no longer failure, it's a lesson.
I love
Right.
that actually.
So ultimately it's just understanding that not everything is going to be great. And I think part of the generation now is like everyone just wants not to fail.
yeah.
Like everyone shies away from failure, or they see it as like this.
The stakes are too high.
Yes, like there's this doom, and people don't start because of the idea of like, what if I fail? Also,
I know that as somebody who's put off a lot of things just because I was like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm scared of it.
Yeah.
So I do really understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we actually have to ease up a bit because we're getting a bit too philosophical.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's do some rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
I prepared a few for you.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, there's going to be nothing political here.
Yeah.
So I'll just start. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah. Okay. One line. What makes a Canada attorney stand out?
I think in the hunger or the passion. It's not one word, but it's difficult to put in one
line.
word.
Put it in
okay,
one line.
let me put it in one line. Someone who is really commercially aware and has the hunger for practice. I think that the purpose that person has will carry them. Yeah.
Okay. Biggest red flag in a CV.
Yo, grammar, spelling errors. I mean, we have tools now to solve it. If that's there now in this day and age, that's definitely a red flag.
Yeah. I mean, an example came to mind with someone whose CV I was reviewing, but I think because they need help, I won't say what the mistake was or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's actually it's funny,
Yeah.
and I can tell you like off camera, but it's not funny when you think
course,
about the
yeah.
recruitment person that would have seen it.
And
Because then
yeah.
I was like, come on, like they will not. This
Yeah.
is one of those. I make mistakes,
Yeah.
spelling, grammar, but
Yeah.
it's one of those grade 3 rules
Yeah.
that your teacher. I came from the
Yes.
black schools
Yeah.
where there was a black pipe ready for you.
Oh yeah,
Like-
corporal. We are revealing our
So,
age when corporal punishment was a thing.
So I'm like, they should have whooped you like
Yeah.
for that. Like
Yeah.
you should have never wrote that.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is your go-to Boolean operator and why in 5 words.
Boolean operator, like isn't like a search.
Yes. Search feature. Yeah.
Yes, I'd say I'm more on LinkedIn a lot.
Okay.
Normally, like if there's a candidate or so, I'm gonna go. That's the go-to place. I'll like,
Okay.
what's to check the person's activity.
Okay.
Then we'll go to our ATS, of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense. Career fair tip that student forget the most.
I think doing the research prior to coming.
I know, right?
Like, can't come and ask me, what do you guys do here? Like, what?
I've had so many of those questions, man. And one of those things is they don't even say that looking at you. They say that looking at the goodies in the back. Like,
Yes.
so what do you guys do here?
Like, listen, I appreciate because I was in their position at some point. Like, who wouldn't like a freebie, right? But
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
assume when the list came out of the companies coming, you would want to understand who are these companies,
Yeah.
and just have like more relevant questions for the level of the conversations that you want to have. Because
Yeah.
that's very basic to say what you guys do here. I mean, it's a
Which
law.
is it's funny because also I think sometimes students don't even realize how the same people that are there
Yeah.
trying to speak to you, trying to build awareness for their own firm,
Yeah.
are the same people that might be sitting across from you in an interview.
Absolutely.
So you
Yeah.
actually get to have a pre-interview session, assuming you'll ever get an interview.
Yeah.
And that's where you can even impress them to a point where when you come and you sit, they're like, we've been waiting for you to hear what you have to say.
Thank you for that.
So it's
because-
a missed opportunity if you
Yeah.
don't do the research prior.
Sorry, thank you for that because there's been people that I vividly remember that I spoke to in a career fair and I see their application. I'm like, oh, this is that person.
Yeah.
And that impression is really good because then it goes a long way.
Yeah.
And the ripple effect of the opposite is, hey, I remember that person.
Don't hire him. Like, or be
You know.
cautious with
Yeah,
him.
like you'll be more cautious, like, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Best first line to a recruiter on LinkedIn. One that would impress you if a student sent to you if they were trying to talk to you.
I think there isn't one line per se. It's just
Okay.
how someone would the approach.
Yeah.
I think the most impressive approach to me when someone said, because I have a lot of messages that I still need to read even now, but the one
Yeah.
that captures me is like, oh, they will greet and then they will go say, listen, I saw X, Y, Z, and then I saw this.
Yeah.
This is my intention for this message.
Oh, okay.
And it's
giving
like
it context.
Yeah, you give
giving
you
it,
context, and
like,
then I'm not
appeal.
like asking myself, huh? You know what I mean? Like some people just send you a CV, just like, oh, here's my CV review.
Yeah, which is, again, I think sometimes people don't know how much potential there is in a particular interaction.
Yeah.
So they just try to get whatever they can get. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe they can just review my CV. Whereas, as you've said,
Yeah.
if you mix the research with the willingness to learn,
Yeah.
you can actually craft a very appealing request to someone, something
Yeah.
that they get excited to help you. They're like,
Yes.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
like you seem like you need
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
useful from me.
And I think just to remember now, going back to the event that we had yesterday,
Yeah.
is what they kept on saying was it shouldn't be transactional. It doesn't
Exactly,
feel like it feels
exactly.
like, yes, I understand you need help from me. That is absolutely, we know that for
Yeah.
sure. But it mustn't be now feeling like, oh, come on, let's just greet me first.
Yeah.
Just ask me how I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay. If a firm could only assess one thing in VAC work, say they were just restricted from assessing anything else, they could
Yeah.
only assess one thing.
Yeah.
What would it be that you believe would really tell them a lot about the candidate?
Assess one thing. I think legal knowledge is the premise of why we're hiring people.
Okay.
So I think
Yeah,
that is the
in the legal
base.
industry.
But if you would allow me, the second part would be how that person shows up.
Okay.
I think that's those two things together.
Yeah.
Magic. Yeah.
Okay. And fast metric to judge an internship program's success. So, like, what's the key KPI that you believe every mentorship program should have in order to yield valuable results?
I think the purpose, right? So because I am a mentor to a few people, the number one thing that I do in a mentorship is like the intro is very important.
Okay.
Am I able to assist the person or not?
Yeah.
Because mentorship also is not a transactional thing. There must be synergy. I must be able to, the number one question I ask, what is your areas of development, so that I can see if I can be able to help you in the
Okay.
capacity that I can help you with.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can refer you to someone that I know I'm not capable to help you, then the next person would. Hence, that's why for me, it's very important to establish that from the get-go, to say, oh, this is what I want to, then I'll plug you. I mean, I remember someone who didn't want to go into practice, but I know people outside of practice. I can connect that
Okay.
person. They sent me a voice note. Oh, this is what I want to know. Send the voice note to someone who's in corporate.
Yeah.
They replied with the voice note. Send the voice note to the person, because the person obviously
Nice.
didn't have the capacity to.
Yeah.
But stuff like that. Like there has to be synergy between the mentor and the mentee. And
Okay.
with my mentor, it's been years now.
Yeah.
A transition from being a professional to more a friend. Now we have the same faith. I've known his kids. Like it
a
goes
relationship,
beyond now. And you have those because it was intentional, right? So a good mentorship relationship is the one that's intentional, and sometimes being honest. Okay, no, there's no synergy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Also, right?
I like how you're responsible with referring people if you can't help them. Because I think
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
one of those easy things where you can just gloat about, yeah, I have 100 people I've helped. But if it's like only 80 people out of that group were the ones that had synergy with you,
Yeah.
then the other 20, you just wasted their time. So I do like
Absolutely.
how you
Yeah.
actually have an approach where you can refer people to other people.
I mean,
or
we have
other
to be
places.
responsible, right? It's people's lives that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's why when people come to me and they say, hey, please mentor me, and I know I don't have the capacity for, I'm going to be honest and say, you
Yeah.
know what, right now, don't check with me now. Maybe check with me in Jan, because I have a lot of responsibilities and I want
Makes
to
sense.
give,
Yeah.
I want to be intentional in transferring those skills.
Yeah.
So you don't want a situation someone is chasing you for like 5 months and you haven't had a meeting or whatever the case may be. So
Great,
Yeah.
great. This is a fiery one. One myth about VAC work that you think, well, just articles in general or practical vocational training
Yeah.
that you think or you just believe students should just forget about? One myth that maybe has annoyed you over the years. You're like, come on, guys,
Yeah.
stop with this thing. What
Yeah.
would it be?
I think there's the question that people think that marks is just like, listen, marks matter.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But I've had a situation where people that have like the highest averages, they think that just like a guarantee.
Oh.
Like they go into any program or anywhere thinking that, okay, because this is,
Yeah.
and this is it. No, like marks gets you to the door. What makes you, remain in the room is being a holistic individual.
True.
Yeah.
It's weird because when I was doing my own VAC work way, way, way back,
Yeah.
you'd see a lot of these type of people where as soon as they get into the whole VAC work group,
Yeah.
they're so eager to speak about law.
Yeah.
They're so eager to speak about what they know. They're so eager to speak
Yeah.
about the principles that they've understood, which is actually commendable. I mean, it's
course.
great that
Yeah.
you are so in sync with this profession that
Yeah.
you're studying that this comes easy to you.
Yeah.
But during that whole thing, that alienate everybody, that piss off some people.
Yeah.
And now we're going into group projects. No one is really interested in working with you. You know it all,
Yeah,
Amit.
yeah.
And it's weird because at that time you wouldn't be assessed on the law.
Yeah.
You'd be assessed on everything else. So I like that
Right,
you've
yeah.
highlighted how even with high marks, you still need to be humble and
Yeah.
like work on other elements or aspects of
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah.
And even with low marks, you still need to be confident and try to put the best foot forward
Yeah.
with all your other attributes. I think that's very, very
And
valuable.
then, and to add to that, sometimes you get great marks, but you can't apply the law,
yeah.
right?
Which
Because
is tricky,
The
so it's an
application of the law
understandable
is something
limitation.
else, right?
Yeah.
Because you would know, because obviously you did your articles and so forth.
Yeah.
How much of the theory or your LLB that you would have done when you went into practice you had to apply, and you're like, oh, there's certain principles, yes,
Yeah.
but the practicality of it when you learn on the job, probably, I don't know the percentage, but there's not much.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that you learn on the job as
Yes,
opposed to
yes.
before the job. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think that's it for the rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back into some of the deeper
All right.
points. I think one that I really wanted to get your perspective on is
Yeah.
diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
We obviously exist in a space where a lot of firms are making a lot of efforts to
course.
promote that.
Yeah.
And with a lot of firms, you can tell it's not just a slogan.
Yeah.
With others, I mean, you hear stories from people that work there and you start doubting the commitments. So, as somebody from an underprivileged background, what do you believe firms could either improve on or start working on that
Yeah.
would actually increase or broaden access to their workforce?
Yeah.
Well, at least broaden access to them
Yeah.
and help them have a workforce that's more diverse and inclusive.
Very good question. I think over the years, this is the fourth law firm I'm working for now. And I think there's been intentionality with all the other law firms I've ever worked for around that diversity and inclusion. There is professionals, hired to
Yeah.
ensure that we compliant with that piece, right? So I've seen people that look like me that are from the same backgrounds of me getting the same opportunities that
Yeah.
one would say deem, privilege.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of work. I can think of so many opportunities, so many programs that are put in place. So from a practicality perspective, there is that happening. Now the responsibility is the people on the other end to show up
Okay.
when that opportunity presents itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I would say there needs to be more work to get people to be ready for the opportunity when it arrives.
Okay.
Sometimes the opportunity arrives, but you are not ready for it.
And I get what you mean. You open up 100 slots and people apply, but you are underwhelmed by the candidates only because you didn't cultivate them before they applied. Do you think that makes sense?
Yes, I think, let me just put it to you in this perspective. Let's just say, I don't know, you come from whatever disadvantaged background that you didn't go to the most prestige schools or whatever the case may be. And then now you get to this, institution that is deemed the best.
Yeah.
You are still trying to figure out the dynamics around that. Also, while you're doing that, maybe in your second year, you apply to this top firm that you didn't even expect that they might invite you.
Yeah.
Then they do.
Yeah.
Right? And then now you get there, and in that room, there's people from different backgrounds, and you feel like, okay, what am I doing here? Do I
Yeah,
belong here?
true.
That imposter syndrome starts kicking in. I've seen that happen a lot. funny
Yeah.
enough, where the person knows, the person is achieving and has the right things, but they just not showing up on the day.
Which is very saddening. I mean, I think what happened to me with that whole imposter syndrome, and this is your interview, so I'm not going to say too long about this, but I got my first VAC work invitation, international law firm, get there, and before that, I had bought a suit because I'm like, see, my thinking is lawyers are guys with
stay
suits.
ready.
Yeah, I have to stay ready.
Yeah.
I get the suit. It's not tailored, so it's oversized.
Yeah.
I wear it on day one.
Yeah.
One of the lawyers, they made a joke. It was really a joke, honestly. It was just,
An
it was to
innocent
the
joke.
wrong black kid. It was to the wrong black kid.
Yeah.
And he made a joke.
Yeah.
I think I hit him with a jab first.
Yeah.
And he just retaliated with, well, your suit is oversized.
Oh.
It was a burn in the, what do they call it? The
foyer.
Yeah. So now I was planning to wear the same suit on the last day of the program because I had an interview.
Yeah.
I decided no.
I'm not gonna wear
I went to Mr. Price. I
Yeah.
got a light blue pair of pants.
Yeah.
I got a purple shirt.
Yeah.
I got a black tie.
Yeah.
I got colorful socks.
Yo, I can already envision this.
What? I have a picture. I
Yeah.
tied the pants in a weird style to
Yeah.
reveal my socks.
Oh, the happy socks. Yeah.
What? And when I walked in there, the idea was,
Yeah.
since the guy I was trying to be is obviously funny,
Yeah.
let's just actually drop that and just come in with my authentic self.
Yeah.
This is how I would look if
Yeah.
I was on a date with a girl I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because it makes me feel good, I believe it's going to give my best performance.
Yeah.
I got hired.
You see, it goes back to showing up as your authentic self, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
if you wanted to be more conservative, like, oh, I must wear black and white. Do you get what I mean? That you could have shown up like that to be conservative. Would that show who you are? Not necessarily.
Not
right?
necessarily, yeah.
Yeah. So I think, just wrapping up on the idea of like what you said about, programs and diversity, we do get these opportunities.
Yeah.
There's less talks around when we arrive, how do we show up at those places?
What's important, what's not important.
What is important? Would I even know what's important?
Yeah, true.
Right. But the information is there. But the sad part is the information is there. And I think that's where I'll usher the importance of mentorship. Because even for one, I'm still getting mentored, but I understand the importance of someone who's walked the path before you.
Yeah.
They will make that path much easier for you.
True.
Should you know that information. Like the power in knowing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If you don't know, lack of knowledge is the most detrimental thing.
Yeah.
Right. Because you can get the opportunity. Me and you can get the same opportunity. You get it because you showed up.
True.
But let's say you know me and this person at class was showing up, he's smart. You know this person is smart, but you just perplexed. Why didn't they get in?
Yeah. Which I think when you're saying about mentorship, what it reminded me of was somebody said that if life was a 100-page book, if you're on page 20, you can teach anybody everything in page 19 and downwards.
Yes. I love that analogy. Perfect.
So like you don't need to be
I'm
at page
stealing
100
this.
of 100 to like teach people like anything.
Yeah.
So even if you're on page 3, page 2 and 1, you already know it. So if somebody's on page 1, try to like hold their hand, try to walk them through everything that you know. So I've been seeing, especially when reading about your profile, interacting with just the persona that you've been able to display online. I've been seeing a lot of that in you. And actually somebody wrote on a comment under one of the videos, they said, I'm so honored to be mentored by this man.
Wow, that's
how does that make you feel?
Well, I need to go
I'll screenshot it and send it to
I'll
you.
go examine that. Like I think one thing that my late uncle told me, he said to me, two things. He says, you must remember where you're from.
Yeah.
And then the one that he said to me is like, if you feel like you have arrived, that is the start of your downfall.
Oh.
So those two things have stayed with me because as you progress in your career, there's more challenges, there's more. And what grounds me is like where I'm from. I understand where I'm from, and why I love mentorship is understanding where people. I understand where they are and where they want to go.
Yeah.
And then what keeps me grounded is the idea of like, I don't think I'll ever arrive because there's so much to learn. Like even in my old age, I'm thinking like, hey, what's next? What can I do?
Yeah.
And once I'm there, then I'm like, what's next? And it's been
You're
like
always keeping that mindset of there's always more to learn.
yeah,
always
that
more
growth
to observe.
mindset. I think that's a perfect word I was looking at. That growth mindset, right? Because growth is forever there. Like you never really stop, right? So you continuously learning. Even now, as I'm studying, I'm realizing, wow, this is nice. I'm part of like study groups now. And, you know, and it's exciting. Like you got work, and so my mind is continuously working. So and that growth mindset is very important.
I mean, if they love you now, imagine how much they're going to love you after you've developed a bit further in your journey. I mean,
Never know.
Okay, so I think I'll just pivot to the technology world now.
Yeah.
AI in recruitment.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a time saver or a big risk, and why?
I think it is a time save. I think AI we can't run away from. AI tools are there just to enhance and better processes.
Yeah.
For me as a person who is in the space that uses tools, it's there to empower us because there's only so much in our team that we can get to like 5,000 applications. Imagine going through. Back then, there were CVs.
The whole stack.
Physical CVs that one had to go through.
Yeah.
And look at the transition. Now there's systems. People can apply online. Back then I'm revealing my age. Back then you would carry a CV and like take it.
Yeah.
Physically take it to the companies, leave it at reception.
And hope it gets to the
and
right
hope
person.
it gets to the right person, right? And now you're sitting in the comfort of your own home and you're sending an application electronically. And there's more tools. The more tools you use, the better for processes. I guess the user experience is also different.
Yes.
Right, for students. I would assume if you are sitting somewhere in the Eastern Cape far and you're able to send that. Imagine back then you have to take a taxi,
Man.
get money for a taxi to go drop. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
where we are, we've progressed a lot with tools, and I think it just makes sense to just enable the user and the recipient of it also. So I think it's beneficial for both the students and for us.
Yeah. And I think I've also had instances where I've had mistrust for technology.
Yeah.
This was even before the AI tools. But my story is I was applying for NSFAS.
Yeah.
And because I was very, very serious about getting the funding, it was the only way I was going to go to university.
Yeah.
I saw the online portal,
Yeah.
but I didn't know who I could hold accountable. So I was like, I could submit this form here, and you had to pay, which at that time
You're like, hey,
no,
pay online. Where's this money going?
I literally took a 450 Rand taxi from KZN to UJ.
Wow.
Which was actually a good thing because it was my first time stepping into the campus.
Yeah.
I could see the other students.
Yeah.
I really got to like, oh, this is the life I'm going to live.
This is where you want to be.
Yeah. But my whole intention was I need to hand this form and my money to a lady
that you can actually see and trust and that it landed there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when I looked at her, I was trying to embed her mind into like her face into my mind.
Yeah.
Like, lady, if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, please, this 450.
So I can imagine how it is for students now, knowing that I want articles, this is the firm I want. But this portal is just, do I just click submit and then it ends there? Who exactly do I speak to? And do you feel like there's still a mistrust by students?
I think there is slightly a mistrust to a certain degree because there's a system that we use and then someone will say, but I sent this thing and there was a rejection, and then they ask you, why did I get rejected? Sorry, because there's a system, there's various reasons as to why someone got rejected. The obvious one, sometimes the person doesn't have the right minimum average that was required.
Makes sense.
And now you're trying to take chances because now you're trying to blame the system. But you don't have the required marks. So it's like, is it the system though? Or is it you trying to...
Makes sense.
Right? Do you get what I mean? And then in some instances, because you have applied and you're waiting for a response, obviously the team is working on other stuff It's not like they're sitting on the system every day, like
Yes, just waiting
you know,
for
there's
you.
there's periods to screen and there's periods, you know. So I get it, but ultimately the system is there, like I said, to benefit both the student and it's just seamless. Like, you know, if you go in there, it's asking you certain information to populate, you're populating that
Yeah.
information. And it works because there's people securing articles and they're
Yeah,
going into
so
VAC.
we're
People are getting
moving,
their
yeah, we are
contracts.
making
so
progress.
it does work. It's just that it just seems like it's an inconvenience if you're waiting maybe too long in the system. Or,
Yeah.
which I do sympathize with. You know, yeah.
No, I get that. Let's get into a juicy one.
Ah,
Social media screening.
yeah.
First of all, what's the purpose of the whole social media screening process?
Yeah.
And what exactly are like the limits for recruiters in a sense that what do you just ignore even if you see in somebody's profile? How far back do you guys go and what exactly what goes on when you guys are doing this?
I've worked for different organizations. So I can speak on like collectively,
Yeah.
like in general, I'm just gonna generalize this.
Yeah.
Is that you've been a you know, like that you represent certain clients and stuff like that. Let's say,
Yeah.
for instance, you are working in one of the matters, and when you go there on your social media and you say, "Oh, this telecommunication provider sucks," for instance, you said this probably in 22 years ago. Let's just say,
Yeah.
hypothetically, your client looks you up.
Oh.
For some odd reason, these things always come up somehow. Someone has receipts somewhere. We know this. We've seen this play out.
Yeah.
Right? Then what do you think your client is going to think if they see that and you are representing them?
It's a bad look.
It's a bad look, right? So I'm just using that, just a simple example like that. If you partake in controversial topics online, you might mean well, but you don't know how I'm going to perceive that comment
Yeah,
that you left
true.
there. So social, it's such a complex thing, and it's a lot of cases now actually.
Yeah.
And a lot of candidates, attorneys get in hot waters because of social media, and not just candidate attorney, actually corporate in general.
Yes.
Because, but my number one rule when it comes to social media, if you have to second guess that this thing might not look good, then don't post it.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where there's a dopamine kick, obviously, where just saying what you want to say
Yes.
and maybe even going viral and getting those
Yes,
first
yeah.
clicks. But I think there's a broader context in which you exist.
Yes.
One where there'll be people that are counting on you. It might even be your family.
Yeah.
They're looking at you like, you've got this job, impress this client, you'll get to make money, move
Yeah.
up in your
Yeah.
career, you'll get
Yeah.
to learn a lot. And I think when you burn those bridges through simple things like posting recklessly,
Yeah.
maybe when you're still a student, you're not thinking about it,
Yeah.
but it actually catches up to you.
Yeah.
What's the worst story you've heard where somebody had it coming back to haunt them?
There's one that's crazy. Like someone posted many years ago, actually. They posted something that was not obviously good to, let's say me and you have an interaction on social media, for instance.
Yeah.
And back then, Twitter was a thing.
Yes.
Revealing my age now. Now it's X. I don't know what they call it now. But
Yeah.
back in my days, there would be things like twas.
What's a twa?
Twas like Twitter war.
Oh.
Yeah, they used to call them twas. And, you know, I remember explicitly someone, you know, was bullying the other person, and the person screenshots that interaction. Then years later, we meet at a place. We start at a place together.
Okay.
Then that person sends that to the employer.
Ooh.
Thing is, values, right?
Yeah.
So every company has values. And one thing that will remain consistent with values is obviously you value people that will be collegial and that will be
Yes, we want harmony in the world.
yeah. So I mean that infringes that because that's, you know what I mean. So that's one thing I can think of at the top of my head that I was like, okay, and that for me for many years, I haven't deleted my account after I saw that happen. Like I was just like, what?
Yeah, I've had a friend who's
Yeah.
done the same.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think with some people, it's not even things that they mean forever.
Yeah.
Things they mean at that time.
Of course,
So,
but like the internet does not forget.
yeah, the
I
sad
mean,
part.
the internet does not forget. I mean, we see it in our everyday lives. How many people pull receipts? You're like, when did you save that? Where does this come from?
Yeah.
You get what I mean? And I think for me, it's just I shy away from things that will, I guess, affect me because ultimately you represent a brand. Indirectly, what you say affects the brand.
True.
You know, so we ought not to forget that
Yeah.
if you're employed somewhere,
Yeah.
you represent that in some shape or form.
I'm a bit of a hothead and
Yeah.
what do they call these people, man? Anyway, I like just doing things that are unconventional.
Yeah.
One thing I thought of when I
Yeah.
was thinking about the social media screening aspect
Yeah.
is that a lot of what the employer or the recruiter would be screening for
Yeah.
is whether you're compliant with our code of conduct as
Of
the
course.
company.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be worthwhile for companies to actually just publicize their code of conduct? Or maybe not just broadly.
Yeah.
Maybe during an application portal, they
Yeah.
post it there and they're like, look, this is how things look on our side.
Yeah.
So as soon as you land, you'll be expected to comply with all these
I
principles.
think those values are there. Like,
Yeah.
funny enough,
Is
they're
it
there.
public?
Like, it's public. Like, if you go to any company website, they'll tell you what their values are.
Yeah. I mean the whole detail.
But now the
like
problem
whole
is
social
okay.
contract.
Let me play the devil's advocate. Now.
Yeah.
So if I know exactly, which is what I'm sensing that you must like, this is what we're going to look for. Then I'm giving you a memo.
Okay.
Then
yeah,
I can
now you can't
somehow-
be authentic.
Yes, you're not gonna be authentic. Oh, this is the memo. This is what I'm gonna do, right? So ultimately, the values are there. You
Yeah.
know, there's a lot of things that like is there in your face.
True.
You know, but I think that that element of you being your authentic self is good. And sometimes maybe you're not compatible for that particular company.
Makes sense actually. Yeah.
That's another thing that we don't explore elsewhere, right? Then maybe you could be more compatible with company B
true.
as opposed to A. And there's nothing wrong with that also.
Yeah.
Right? Because ultimately each and every company has values and everyone wants to work where they feel that they can thrive and be themselves. When those two meet, when the company values and they merge,
Yeah.
that's
the
when
beauty.
you see people excel and succeed in the companies that they work for. And there's many examples of people that I can think of that are excelling
Yeah.
at the current company, that even in the previous companies, they're excelling because they found their match. I look at professional career. Your professional career is like the dating pool.
Yeah.
It's a very weird way to look at it. And then in the date, if the date is well, and then you date that person, they become your girlfriend, you marry them. You ride on the sunset, and your career progresses with that person for the rest.
Makes sense. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Look, I think I've learned a lot from this.
Yeah.
And then I think because we're about to wrap everything up, maybe we can do some quick advice for law students.
Okay.
Best cold email subject line for recruiters if you're a student sending something. What would actually pique your interest if you saw it pop up on your inbox?
I don't know how to answer this because thing is, we get a lot of emails, right? So if
Yeah,
the subject line is tailored to what you want, like
Okay.
what is this email about? That should be
helps.
the subject line.
You're an efficient guy, so actually that helps you. Like, hey.
At least I know, okay, this is for an internship, or this is for VAC, or this is for job shadow. This is
Yes,
for,
yes.
you know what I mean? So I know, okay, that's the subject line. What I'm more interested in is what the content,
The substance in
the
the
substance
email,
of the
yeah.
email. Because I might open it, but if the substance is like,
Oh, which is weird because I see this a lot with social media where hooks are like the thing.
Yeah.
Whenever you start your reel, say something that's going to catch something within the first 5
Yeah.
seconds. And I've seen with some guys like, yeah, you caught me, but then I saw how trash your content is.
then I'm like,
So,
okay, thanks, bye. Continue.
bye.
You know what I
Like,
mean? Yeah.
Okay. So you're talking to your students. If they don't have top grades, what should they lead with?
I guess if you have mitigating circumstances why you don't have top grades,
Yeah.
then I think that's a start. right?
Oh, okay.
Some people might have a loss. Like there is like serious circumstances that people go through as a student. We are aware of this. So that is something that you lead with to say,
Yeah.
if you look in my first year, I had, good grades. Third year, then my marks, you would have seen they dropped. This is
Yeah.
the reason why. But if you don't have top grades holistically and there was no mitigating circumstances,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have any
Can't
good
help
things
you.
to say. I can't help you because
Yeah.
ultimately, I look at myself, right? And I'm very hard on myself also in the sense that I'm a student now.
Yes.
And the first three assessments that I sent were good marks
Yeah.
because I was like, okay,
You're taking it seriously.
I have to take this thing seriously. So if
Yeah.
I can advise someone to take something seriously, I'm applying that same logic to myself too.
Makes sense.
So, and excellence is excellence. You just have to show up.
Yeah.
And the opposite of excellence is not showing up. So you must make sure you land in the right category.
Makes sense.
Unless there is mitigating circumstances, like I said.
Yeah.
But if there isn't, then it always results to how serious did you take it?
Yeah. And sometimes actually I think some of those circumstances could be just you taking on other responsibilities other than just your studies. It's not advisable, but
Yeah.
if we can see from your CV, I say we as if I'm a recruiter, but if your CV shows, man, this person moved from having great marks in the first year and really not much else that they were doing to being involved in so many things, and we could tell how it's grown you and developed you, then not to say who cares about your grade marks, but we can see the trade-off.
No, of course,
You traded
like,
off the grade marks for other things.
Someone funny enough asked me a question yesterday around, they said they were part of Moot and then they were part of other things and now they're starting to infringe on their marks.
Yeah.
So I said, well, maybe drop off a few things so that at least you keep the main thing, the main thing. Where did I learn that from? It's actually quite cool. Keep the main thing, the main thing.
Yeah.
And then the extras is just extras. Say you rather drop off on a few things that you're doing that's extra, and then you keep the main thing, which is your marks.
Okay.
So that's why you were there at the end of the day, right?
True. Yeah. And then with the motivational letters that you may have seen or read throughout the years, what's been the most motivational or inspiring line or sentence you've seen there?
I think when someone leads with purpose,
yeah,
I have a soft spot for purpose. Like if you lead with purpose, I'm there. And that could look, because I've seen so many, I can't remember a particular one, but you can, when you're reading something, you can see the purpose, you can see the drive and how this person wrote, and they took the time to actually, piece whatever information that they're putting forward.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And then probably my last question here, ideal number of interactions that a student should have in a networking context outside of university, just to maybe stay out there, be visible and learn a lot.
I think I've seen a lot of students right now in a lot of initiatives that I do. Putting yourself out there is good, but I wouldn't recommend a number. I'd say have intentional things or interactions. If you're going to have an even if it's one, if it was intentional, that for me, I think that's good.
And that touches on the research part that you mentioned, where instead of going to 10 where you're unprepared, you could go to one where you're super knowledgeable prepared, about what's happening.
Yeah, and then that one will lead to the next.
Perfect.
Lead to the next. And that's how you should go about it, yeah.
Perfect. Keke, it's been a wonderful conversation. I really thank you for your time and all the knowledge that you've dropped here. And again, I think it's really wonderful when you see, especially Black kids, help other Black kids and just be a pillar that other people can rely on.
Yeah.
I think some of the stuff you said, it makes me want to talk to you even afterwards. So, and I don't know if you'd even have the time for that.
No,
but
I'll probably have a bit of time. I did put time aside, so more than willing. Yeah,
it's been amazing, and I feel sorry for you guys that this ends here for you, but I'm still gonna have fun. But I mean, thank you everybody for joining this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you didn't miss Yvonne too much, and thank you again for all your support. If you've been a continuous visitor and viewer of the content that we have on this channel. Thank you. My name was Tando, and we'll see you for another episode. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and just keep safe and keep growing and Happy Employment Wednesdays, if that's how Yvonne ends it.